7:38. All rise for pledge of allegiance, please. Pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, roll call.
Patterson? Here. Henderson here. Shaw absent. Simpson absent. Sleds?
Here.
Galecki?
Here. Okay. Anybody have anything to say about the agenda? If not, a motion to approve as presented.
So moved.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, so moved. How about approval of minutes from July 10th?
Motion to approve minutes of July 10th as presented?
Second?
Yeah. Oh, you have to.
Huh?
You have to.
I do? Oh, that's right, okay. I second the motion. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Abstain?
Abstain.
Okay, so that was quick. Welcome, banners, we're back to you. Okay, so we've been given this task by the village council to review some banners that are, and who's doing this?
Marcia Monet is the art elementary teacher,
Okay.
and what we're proposing is that, I don't know if you've been to Romeo lately, but they have these beautiful banners with the children's artwork on it. And so what Marcia wants to do, you want to tell them?
Yeah, so in the fall, I would have a contest where from kindergarten to grade 5, we would choose 3, you and the principals and myself would choose 3 students from each grade to, I had presented the best artwork. Never decided on a theme, but anyhow, and then they would work on it with me and we'd make them into banners to display along the streets.
So we would take the drawings to Josh at API, and then he would take the artwork and laser it, or I don't know how he does it, but he'll make the banners for us. And so what it will, on the top it'll say, "Welcome to Armada," and then we'll have the child's artwork on there, their first name only, because that's how they have it in Romeo. And then they will go up as soon as the Christmas decorations are taken down, and then they'll be taken down when the Christmas decorations go up, and then the flag will be given to that child and their parents, and then we'll have another contest and so forth and so on. And so we thought it would be a lovely way to say, welcome to Armada. Romeo started out with 20 and now they have 120 of them. And their community absolutely loves it. And Elmont has them, K-Pac has them, and Richmond also has them. So we have the new light poles, the black pole that's on top there, that's already up there. The bottom gizmo there, Ed and Dave have those for the 20 poles that we have in Armada. And so, but the flags will be a little bit smaller to accommodate that black pole. And then Ed and Dave will put the banners up, and then they'll put that gizmo on the bottom to fit it for the flag. So it's going to be a little smaller and it won't be quite as long. And
So who's going to hang these?
Dave and Ed.
So
The DPW.
and village.
Yep.
Okay.
And the principal and the vice principal have approved doing the contest at the school for the artwork. And the village council approved it, but they wanted your blessing. I'm not technically sure how it's supposed to be said, or blessing or whatever. Any questions?
Well, normally we would ask for details on the brackets to be on file and the positioning of the brackets on the poles for heights and stuff like that. And I think if the brackets that are already in place on the top ones will be okay. And since the DPW is installing those, I don't see a problem. But if you add any more banners, it would be requested that you come in with paperwork on what the brackets are so they would be on file.
you want us to
No,
measure that, you're saying?
no. Like, these brackets are existing, so you got those from DPW and the ones
Right.
are existing on poles. So I said, okay, so if you're doing these, we're kind of set. But you said Romeo added, and you're doing this as well.
Oh, yeah, no,
Or
we-
if you add more brackets, we would want those brackets to be
Yeah.
on file.
Yeah.
So it'd be very easy to do because you're gonna have to buy them, you'll have paperwork to turn that paperwork in and.
Yeah, no, I don't think that we're as big as Romeo.
Well,
and-
understood, but
yeah.
again, we need to say stuff like that
Sure.
in case you do expand that.
Okay.
So then you don't buy brackets that are substandard and, you know. that-
Gotcha.
So we don't have a problem down the road. So we're
Okay.
just trying to make sure that, because you do something today, you don't get in trouble tomorrow.
Gotcha, okay.
Okay.
There's only 20 light poles in the village of Armada right now, so they were able to expand because they already had the light poles already up. And they just did a test run. I spoke to them and they did 20 at first and wanted to see how the public would like it. And the whole community loved it, and that's why they kept increasing. But they already have their light poles. We only have 20 and that's it. And no one's interested in installing any more light poles. We're just working with what we have, and we just thought it would really make Armada look very welcoming, and it's fun for the children to see their artwork up there.
Oh.
Question would be, how long a banner are you planning on doing?
Ed said that where the existing pole is, there's a ring, and he would want it just a little bit below that. And so he's gonna measure, and then I'll take that dimension over to Josh. So if you're looking at what you have right here, Ed thought that it would go from, this is where the top part is, and he said to about here. So it was 1, 2, 3 down. So it's only gonna be that big and that wide, so it's not gonna be very large.
So maybe once you get those dimensions, you could get Josh to give you a printout of what that is with the dimensions on it and submit that to the village and, or just for record.
Yeah, add it to the record here.
Right, but we don't have to come back to, you gotta
No,
approve
no.
it again, right?
Just bring
Oh,
it
okay.
in. Just bring it in the mail.
Okay.
Yeah.
Must be.
So we think it's a good
best.
idea too. I do. Christie?
Yeah, I think that's great.
Yeah, yeah, it's kind of a nice thing to do. Okay, so we've been tasked to look at this. Anybody got any further questions? So you want to approve this, and then the only condition would be that you would bring in your artwork with the dimensions for the flags, and then if you ever add any, then, or if brackets are ever replaced, then the new brackets need to be on file.
Okay.
Okay? Well, that would be part of your condition.
Okay.
Okay, other than that?
Did you get that?
He's way ahead of me.
I would say you have to be on that one, because that would have been a lot of fast handwriting, unless you do a shorthand.
Okay, a motion to approve.
So moved.
Chrissy,
Second?
all in favor?
Aye.
Yippee!
Yay, thank you for
Okay.
this. Thank you. I just have to,
So hopefully your kids get really enthused in it.
Oh, I think they will. I did some posters, movie type posters in the spring, and it showed 10 of them. And now they're gonna hang around the inside walls of the school. They were very excited for that. So this is fun.
I think when they get presented with the flag afterwards too, that'll be a
Right.
big,
Yeah,
nice
absolutely.
And hopefully we'll keep doing this year after year.
Hey, like the idea.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks, gals. Okey dokey. Okay, ordinance review. So we were tasked with 5 and 6. Or sections 5 and 6. Section 5 was, excuse me, fairly easy. Excuse me. Section 6 was not quite so easy. So the first thing is the dimensional standard chart on Article 5. Sorry.
We did 5 last time.
Oh, we did?
Yes, we did.
Oh, good. Cool. Okay, well, since we're on 5, and it was my mistake, so, after going through 6, I'd like to consider changing the, side yard setbacks of industrial and parking and divide those, in half. I don't see why we have to have 20 foot or 10 foot on each side of the parking area to a, because none of the parking areas we have any setbacks. And if we had setbacks on those parking areas, we wouldn't have parking areas.
Right, we're on the phone.
Makes sense then.
So the rear yard setback too, from the parking thing, like that. We should look at that. Maybe we could ask Brian, but I think we should. I don't. So none of the parking areas, including Vinkier's, has any of the setbacks. Nobody has this type of.
You have a burn requirement, that
Yeah.
kind of is a setback.
I think this is excessive. I
Yeah.
don't, with the old ordinance, in industrial, you could build right on the lot line. So I'd like to depending on kind of what you think, this is gonna be stuff that we're gonna ask the planner for, recommendations, but I'd like to, reduce those 2 areas. Any comments? Chris?
No, that's all right.
Okay. And I think when we did Larry's, we allowed him to have a closer setback just by more plantings. Okay, so, can we move on to Article 6? Okay, anybody have anything? Oh, okay, sorry. But I'd like to see on table 5 that we also add densities. So where there's R1, RM, office and industrial. So they use density factors in some things, so I think it'd be nice to have that listed also in this table.
How would it apply?
What's that?
How would density apply?
Because density is in the ordinance and it does apply, so you could have some idea and a quick reference of what we're doing.
So you would need to know how many homes are in a particular area or particular...
No, so it would be more like if somebody like Fritz was coming in, so that's, the density would apply to that. The density would apply to multiples, so there's many things that the density
I can
would...
see it with multiple.
Well, you could also see it with a subdivision. So subdivisions have strict density guidelines. So if you're gonna have a chart, it'd be nice to have that in the chart. So you're, how often are you gonna use it?
Yeah, quick reference.
It's just a reference, the chart's a reference, and that's just something, so. Anyway, moving on. How about, how about section 6(1)D? Because we got rid of mining in the, was it the chart on 4 and 4?
Yep.
So it says if you're gonna do anything, sale or transportation of excavated materials off-site shall be considered mining and extraction. But we cross that out of Article 4, land use tables. So we don't allow mining. So a good example would be if somebody was going to come in and do a, let's say, a subdivision or some type of development, they had to put a retention pond in, so they're going to have to excavate, take material out for that pond. According to this ordinance, that's considered a mining operation, and they'd have to have a mining permit. I don't think we really need to do that. That's not mining, mining is a totally different thing.
So they can still excavate and remove the material of whatever's down in there, iron, ore, dirt, rocks, and get rid of it?
I don't know what you said.
So we don't have mining anymore, which I understand. I mean, nobody's gonna do a mining project in town unless somebody found a big vein of ore or something.
No.
But, so the same scenario that Fritz or some other developer comes in and wants to dig a retention pond, he still can dig that pond.
Exactly, but it'd be under his thing with engineering and all that, so we'd have all the guidelines that go along
Blanket of
with
his
it. It just,
project.
he doesn't have to add, he doesn't apply for a separate permit for
Permit,
that.
okay. Okay, so that's all it alleviates, is just.
All we're doing is
go through a
just
permit.
deleting something that I think that's
Thanks.
redundant in what
Yep.
we're gonna do.
So from sale or transportation of to the end of that paragraph needs to just come off.
Yeah, so you ended at, state of Michigan.
Right. Okay.
Chris?
Unless you're trying to tell them that you can't take stuff off-site, then just finish it with another sentence.
Well, it's not that you can't take stuff off-site, you can take stuff off-site, it's just you don't have to do, because again, if they're gonna do something, if you're gonna dig a retention pond, you're gonna do something where you're excavating, you're gonna have another permit in order to do that. So even if you're clearing property, you're supposed to have a permit.
What kind of permit?
I don't know, I'm pretty sure, because I was told that when Fritz cleared that property, he was supposed to come in and have a permit, and I know you're supposed to, and then I know you're supposed to, because you're supposed to have a tree study before you even clear. So anyway, moving on. So how about, so do we agree on that one, or not? Sure. Okay, so, section 1(2). So, okay, there's nothing on that one or the next section. How about, or anybody have anything on 102 or 103? Okay, how about 104?
Before I forget about it, did we change something or that allowed chickens in town again?
No,
No, mm-mm.
Oh, okay.
Teach Street.
We just have chicken. They're just not allowed, they don't know it.
Okay. I just said when I was tooling around the other day, I heard something, I looked in between the trees, hey, a whole bunch of chickens.
They're in my neighborhood, nobody owns up to owning them.
There's one by me.
Oh, by you too?
Mhm.
Oh, no. Yeah.
That one we haven't heard about yet, but
Yeah.
I didn't until a few days ago, so. It just made me think about it. I remember all that years ago when
Yeah.
Steve came up.
Gypsies here from the fair.
Okay, so, section 6105, we said riding stables, did we talk about that? We're not gonna be allowed,
Right.
so that's basically crossed right off, so we don't have a section 6105 anymore.
Just take that part out.
Okay. How about section 6201, accessory apartment? So in B3, that's confusing, isn't it? Or is it just I don't understand what that means.
Yeah, I was on that straight away, but that wasn't there. So.
Yeah, so if 1,500 is occupied by the owner, then where's the other 25% come from?
That means you have to have a structure that, is pretty large. So 2,000 square feet minimum.
Yeah, where you're gonna
You
get
have to have at least
400.
a 2,000 square
Yeah.
foot.
Well, and so, but I think that this wording needs to be cleared up. So I would think that 1,500 might apply,
Because then the accessory has to have an additional 450 square feet.
yeah. So it should be like a minimum square footage, and then 75%, 25%, if you're gonna do it like that, but it ought to be defined more. Yeah, because the way this reads, it's gotta be, like Becky said, 1,950 square feet, pretty good size house.
It's a 2,000 flat.
Yeah, 2,000 flat, it's gotta be minimum 2,000, 1,500 for the principal
Oh, okay.
owner.
And
and
75, 25, yeah.
Well, but down below it says
It
each.
says 450
Yeah,
square
it
feet,
says
which
400.
Which
says,
gonna say which doesn't
Which
match that,
contradicts,
exactly right, because it would
Right.
be 500.
Well, I've got both of those circled, so we need to clarify those
I mean,
two.
quite frankly, it's off by feet, because you could say minimum of 15, okay, 1550, or, you know.
Yeah, then just put
It's
percentages in.
nitpicking, a little, but yes, but
So
can we really, yeah.
I think you could combine 3 and 4 and just do a minimum square foot, and the accessory apartment can only be so
So I'd
much.
be curious if there's, I mean, where did the requirement come from anyways?
Well, exactly,
Do we really
so-
care if it's 15, what if it's 1,000?
Yeah, correct.
And someone adds a 500 square foot accessory apartment?
right.
Do we really care? But, you know, I don't know what that means.
Well, and then-
Thinking of it in terms of,
read it, what it says.
What's
Read
that?
what it says.
A minimum of 1,500, 1,500 square feet of gross floor area of the principal building shall be occupied by the owner of the property, and not more than 25% of the principal building shall be occupied by accessory apartments. So it's confusing, but so all we're gonna do is get with the planner and have him give us some guidelines, and we'll go from there. Okay?
something in nature. To make a kind
Because there may be some state ordinance that they, you know, so if we just have the planner kind of give us why, and if there isn't some guideline, then we'll come up with something. Okay, so this is 6204, home occupations.
In B, there's a typographical
Yeah.
error.
Uh-oh.
Related to,
Oh, wait a minute, yeah, I kind of missed one too. So where's that at?
In,
oh,
in.
Oh, this is your,
Section
Becky's famous notes here?
Which one, Becky?
6204B,
Oh,
third
okay,
line,
okay,
it should
got it.
say related to the home occupation.
It's directly
Where
related
are we?
to the home occupation.
6.204,
Yeah,
B,
yeah.
Second,
related.
between the second and third words,
Oh,
first and second. To the home occupation.
okay. So then, I kind of had something too on permitted uses, so D. So number 1, we don't have anything about computers. A lot of people work at home on computers, and a lot of people have computer businesses based out of their house.
Especially
So one would be,
computer repair,
Well, computer, that in civics is repair. Repair services limited to watches and clocks, small appliances, computers, electronic devices, and similar small
Yeah, but
devices.
that's repair. So that has nothing to do
You're
with,
talking about
say like a website designer.
Like an IT person, yeah.
Okay, so I mean,
ITIS.
an IT guy, you could have, you know, I'm not a computer guy, so I couldn't say it, but there's probably 10 different things that, different businesses you could have and computer stuff. So,
ITIS, yeah.
yeah, they could run out of your house.
Yeah.
So I think we should, and I just put computer and related
Computer
services.
related, right?
Sure, under D1.
Yes. Because those are usually low impact, you hardly have anybody, nobody'd even know that you did it,
Right.
other than the mailman.
They don't even do it by mail, they just text.
Huh?
They don't even do it by mail, they just text
Well, true.
computers.
Well, I'm thinking more
Email.
like getting paid.
Okay.
I was going to ask you,
So then there, okay, so then there
Well,
was,
did you notice that too, is if you, in the first sentence though too, you kind of, I mean, I have no issue adding it to it, but it basically, it puts that under a special approval right now. Any home occupations
Oh,
not listed may be permitted as a special approval use.
yeah, but why would you have
So, no, I agree, I
Right,
think,
yeah.
I think that one would be a one to pull out and add.
Sure.
Regardless, right now, yeah, it's overly restrictive to them in particular, but.
Yeah, so anything not listed, you have to have a
As a
special
special
approval. So
approval,
so then, I don't know what, so internet sales,
Hold on.
so I kind of, did a number 7 and said internet sales. So you could do internet sales. I know a guy that does that and sells on Amazon, but has nothing at home.
Is it Amazon?
He has his company drop shipped to Amazon, Amazon ships it out.
Oh, okay, there it is.
They're selling stuff on eBay.
Sure.
Sure.
Well, it's a data gal that she sold stuff on eBay for people.
Maybe the one for our planner
what?
one too.
She sold stuff on eBay
No,
for people.
she's what gal?
Huh?
A what gal?
The gal that did it.
That's what you said. The dating gal, okay.
That'd be a good one too for the planner. What else? I mean, just, you know, we can, coming to the 21st century.
Yeah, so we don't have really anything listed other than what Christie said where
yeah, this-
electronic
repair.
computers
Right.
repair, but repair is really, computers are so much more
Yeah,
than
low
repair.
rate sales and all
Yeah.
that.
So what do you think about having a 7 internet sales, website development, blah, blah, blah?
Yep,
Right.
Okay.
definitely.
Okay. Okay, so then prohibited uses. I put the-
I
Okay,
was gonna ask you, almost everything listed in here as permitted uses.
permitted, but you still have to come into planning.
Right, but if you go back to 4.1, it says they're not permitted in residential areas.
For.
In that chart.
I thought
Oh,
it
it's
did.
4.2, sorry.
No, yeah, there's a S and a P right above it.
Where are we at here? Residential uses, home occupations.
It's good. It's under RM1 and RM.
It's
And then it's S for anything not listed.
Yeah, so that's fine. So permitted and special approval, so listed and not listed. So it's just like it says in, if it's not listed in 6204,
Yep.
so if it's listed in 6204, it's permitted with a planning commission approval. If it's not listed in 6204, it's special approval by planning commission.
Okay.
Yeah, Bob.
And then if you want, we could have the planner look at other things that could be home occupation, expand that list.
Right. That sounds.
You wanna do that?
That'd be a good question.
Becky?
Yeah. no,
Okay.
great.
See what else, since we're adding to it, what else would be
Yeah,
good?
yeah, you don't wanna make it, special approval is a pain in the butt and you don't really wanna make it, so that's tough. Oh, you know, something that's, I don't know if it's listed in here.
You don't have Uber services.
Daycares.
Daycares, I
I
think,
thought
in there.
childcare.
Where?
Isn't childcare that part of section 4 instead?
It'd be permitted, it'd have to be under D, permitted uses.
Let me see here. Family daycare,
6.203
group
says
child
family
care.
and group child
Yeah,
daycare.
6203.
Yeah, it's the whole section before home occupations.
Because we went through that not too long ago with
Where-
down here,
okay,
when you wanted
where you at?
to, it's too close to the
Yes.
bar.
Oh, okay, kind of its own section, okay,
Yeah,
all right,
that's what I'm
okay.
saying, and then plus the
Okay.
one that was down, the,
Okay. Okay, cool.
The Martha Group, whatever the
Yeah,
house is.
Martha Griffith's.
Right, okay.
Okay,
God,
So
you
then,
went through a
how about-
bunch of those, like a bunch of them.
prohibited uses.
By the way, did we ever change that? No?
I've got a number 8, or any usage that would disrupt the neighborhood.
Says it all.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. Disruptive to the neighborhood. Which means what?
You couldn't stock Porta Johns in your backyard.
Can't have a porta-john business?
Well,
Was that something you knew
Okay.
somebody was considering?
I don't know.
Well, that guy that does it for the fair has done a great job with it, right? You gotta start somewhere.
So anything that make noise, that would be a disruption.
Yeah.
Something where, you know, you had people coming and going.
Yeah, it's a lot of traffic.
Yeah,
Yeah, but what did we,
yeah.
what do they call that standard?
So you're limited on traffic anyway. You kind of, I don't know what could be disruptive, but.
No, you just maybe, because I'm thinking, wasn't there a section, didn't we have something, like a performance standard talking about noise and all that?
Yeah, but I don't think it applies to home occupation.
That's why I was curious as to what did it say, or yeah, where I read there was something from a long time ago. And even if it did, is there something we could use for wording? Yeah, because it's lights that are too bright, sounds that are too loud, you know.
Working too late.
Yeah,
Yeah,
working,
There's a guy just doing artwork,
8 to 8.
you know, in his garage, but he's, you know, he's working out there at midnight or 2 o'clock in the morning, because
Yep.
that's when he,
10.
you know.
Mm-hmm. Oh, here's.
So I knew a guy that had a welder at his house, but it had a high frequency attachment, and when he pressed the pedal on the high frequency, he disrupted people's TV reception. So, I mean,
Yeah.
and that was, he didn't do stuff for anybody else, he was just doing it for himself. No. And I think he was doing just art stuff. So anyway, how about we ask the planner about that one too?
Well, see, he's got, yeah, because the wording here, if you go to 8301, it's kind of, it's more of a, let's say, planning version of what you said. It shall be unlawful to perform or permit any activity, operation, or use of land, structure, or equipment that produces irritants to human sensory perceptions greater than the levels established in this section as the maximum permissible hazards to humans or human activities.
My wife would say that with me sometimes.
All wives would say that about their husbands.
Okay, so
Yeah.
how about we go on to 6.8, page 6.8.
Manufacturing.
So I looked at the K, the open space. I think maybe their computations might be small, just my opinion, so I think I'd like that to be looked at also. Because we got 29 acres and we have 2% for a common area. That's not very much. That's a little over half an acre.
Mhm.
Well, especially
Any
when it says
manufactured
that
or
25% of the
containing
required
50.
open space may consist of swamp areas, marshy areas, and similar limited use areas.
Yeah,
So.
that could actually be no
Yeah.
space.
Yeah, the swings could be over the swamp.
Yeah.
Well, hold on, okay, so if you have more than 50 sites, you gotta get 25,000 square feet of dedicated. If your gross
No, it
acreage
says
is
it'll be
20.
well drained, you can't be over the swamp.
No, it's over, well, oh, yeah, the top one.
So anyway, I'd like to look at that one too.
And when we
Everybody
do
agree?
that one, we looked at that one when Fritz put in phase 2. And that was when our first little park thing came in back there. And then again in phase 3, that's where we have those little lots at our park areas. Because for the number of houses, he had to have a park area. One was a trade for tap permits, I think. But we did address that a long time ago. So it's good to review it again and make sure that it's.
Well, phrase 3
accurate.
is, phrase 3 did a lot averaging and that's part of the retention pond.
Mhm.
Okay, so. So in multiple family dwellings and developments, on B, it says standing seam metal roof is prohibited. If I was somebody, that's exactly the roof I'd want. So when this was written, the metal roofs were not as prevalent as they are now.
That's mentioned in a couple different ones, even that we can't have that type of roof.
What now?
That type of roof is mentioned in more than one in here.
Well, and that may be the case, but I think that we should
Four-feeted.
revisit that and make that, and delete that section. Because the standing seam roof is the top of the line of the metal roofs.
Very popular roof now.
Well, yeah, but the standing seam one, again, that's like saying you can't sell Cadillac cars.
Right.
So can we delete that?
Yep.
Okay. So then D, It says that you gotta have a 6-foot sidewalk. Public signs shall be provided along collector roads and streets, a minimum with the 6-foot. So I put or matching existing adjacent properties. So if you got a sidewalk that's in the area that's 4 foot or 5 foot, why do you gotta put a 6-foot sidewalk for your property?
Sure.
Oh, I disagree.
Huh?
I disagree. I think it should have to be 6 foot.
But then so it'd be
And have
incongruent.
and then have the step down?
Not a
So
step
next to it?
down.
Well, it is, it's gonna terminate, it'll be 6 foot, then 4 foot.
Yeah, right. So you got 6 foot
Or
for
else
this
maybe
property,
the
but your
other
property
6
on both sides, you have a 4-foot
Oh,
sidewalk.
hold on, I do have a question.
So,
park.
I mean, then you're gonna make you're gonna,
But a 4 foot is
Um,
ADA compliant.
Well, hold on, is that in the right of way? We're talking
Yes.
in the right of way, right?
yeah. So, and I'm not saying they're 4 foot, but
Yeah.
I think, what are the sidewalks in the village, aren't they 4 foot? All the residential, they're 5 foot,
Supposed to be.
Five, ours are 5,
are they?
but I don't know how everywhere.
I know mine's
I know
not.
there's part 2 that's not, because I know ours are for sure.
Yeah, mine's not
Mine's
5
But
foot.
I've seen some that are 4-ish.
Because my snow blower is not 5 foot and I do it in one pass.
Yeah, mine's not.
So I think they're 4 foot. I think all the sidewalks are 4 foot. Maybe and I live on Main Street, so, and I go all the way to the corner.
So-
All the way to the bank and Cozy's if I'm feeling up to it.
Public,
Blow everybody's and I do it in one pass. So Cozy's and kind of Carolyn's, that's different. That's all concrete from the building to the curb, but where there's just sidewalk, one pass.
It's considered a collector street. I used to remember those, I don't know what the definition of it is now.
So anyway, so what do you think?
But anyway, okay, you're thinking, but because of the road it's on, or just in general?
Just in general, I would not, as narrow as yours are, I wouldn't allow them to put a 2 foot, 3 foot wide sidewalk in there.
Well,
I
it's not
understand
3
what you're
foot,
saying.
it's 4 foot. I mean, and I just see it as a ridiculous thing. So
But
it's
there-
kind of like, it's like buying a
Well, here's the
$100,000 truck
But you're
to carry
talking multifamily
bricks.
dwellings and developments, you're not talking a single house. So you're not talking about a house that's gonna get built on a lot next to yours. You're talking about a whole wide open area that's gonna probably get,
Well, I'm looking at the apartment complexes that we both have, or that, not that we both have, but that the village has. So neither one of those apartment complexes has a lot of frontage. So they have property in the back, but they don't occupy a lot of frontage. So maybe we could do something.
Well, here's the kicker, so eventually, again, now with our community, let's say, then it's age. Because you put the 4 foot in, and then when they tear theirs out, or get to redo it because of whatever, they're not gonna put, they're gonna be forced to put to the new standard.
Oh,
again, you're in the multifamily dwelling
Then
and
you're in
development
that.
area of the ordinance. You're not in the
Yes,
subject
right,
building.
I gotcha. But it didn't say to it, no. We don't give a size.
where do we even have RM?
Yeah, that's what-
Where's it?
Down to the side of the mill is RM. And
This is it here.
it's down the other side of the mill is all RM.
I don't have any charts.
But you wait. Hang on, yeah.
So both of those are on Fulton, that's all 4 foot sidewalks.
What's here?
Krauses? Or not Krauses, that's not Krauses, that's the windmill. That's Krauses, that's windmill.
So those developments are already there.
Right. But they have property, I don't think they can, so if they bought a couple of these houses, they might be able to do something. like build another building, but I don't know if they've got enough property to do that.
First building's pretty far back.
Hmm?
Their first building is very
The
far
house is
back.
next to it.
Oh, yeah, that's what I'm saying. If they were to buy those houses, would they have enough property to put out another building?
I don't know.
Well, the property behind it, because that, when Kay Rawling had that,
Yeah, that's
she got approached by someone who was gonna buy that, renovate, add on, and then put condos behind it.
Yeah, and that gal did buy it, so.
Oh, yeah? Okay.
So,
That's not
Okay.
the first offer that's the first offer that she got.
Yeah.
He was gonna put senior citizen
Yeah,
condos
yeah,
behind it,
yeah.
and they couldn't reach a agreement.
well, but the gal that did buy it wanted to do similar, but she wanted to. Anyway, okay. Well, that's what I want to do. What do you guys want to do?
I'm okay with that.
Christie? Okay. That's what we want to do.
If we had, if we had the street, I agree.
You got
with
two,
you.
Becky.
It doesn't meet the accessibility,
I'm with you.
but we don't, but it's not there. The only time it would be is if we forced them to add, you either force them to tear it up and replace it, or when you are replacing it, you have to then bring it to code, or whatever the standard is.
Oh, it's existing there already, right.
Yeah,
But
well, that's,
anything that you put in new or take out and put in
Agreed.
new, it has to be ADA compliant.
Then the whole
Well, it
village
doesn't
needs
have
to
to.
increase the sidewalk.
it does not have to be, you have to define it as that.
For an apartment complex?
You get to pick, because there's another part to that everyone, it's accessibility to the site in the first place, which is more important, which is the overriding on all of it. I just spent, again, a year now dealing with California ADA especially. Yeah, you get to pick what you want it to be. You don't have to have it, it's up to you. It's up to the owner to decide, am I gonna make this compatible or not? Once you do pick it though, there's a lot of standards that go with it. But if you don't want it to be, you don't have to have it. You're not forced to do it.
Okay.
We could make it part of our additional requirements, but
Okay, that's good.
Okay. Moving on, anything further on page 612?
Well, on 611, you're there,
6 what?
612, or 611, 6.207.
6 point, well, we're past that one.
You just turned 20 pages.
Well, okay, so where we at?
In
hold on,
A,
look at
Huh?
this.
it says detached single-family dwellings except manufactured houses located in an, which is singular, approved and licensed manufactured housing parks, which is plural. So it either has to be in approved and licensed manufactured housing parks or in an approved and licensed manufactured housing park.
Detached single-family dwellings except manufactured houses located in an approved and licensed manufactured housing park shall comply with the following standard. Okay. So you want to lose the S in parks?
Thank you, Paul Shoemaker.
Yeah, that's right. I forgot about that.
Computer needs to.
Okay, how about, so we're done with 612, now that we, that's okay, I regressed a couple of times tonight too. Okay, how about 613?
Another typographical error. 6.302 on A, if you only have one half, it's not acres, it's acre.
Mhm.
And did you make a note on 612 about duplexes on your
That's what I
corner
was
lot,
about.
blah, 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 blah thing?
What now?
Bottom of 612.
The duplexes that you want to allow them on your
Yeah, on
corner
your
lot.
corner lot, no, that.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, but didn't we already address
Talking
that?
about.
But I'd put it again here in plain English.
Okay, all right.
Was one of them part of definitions? Is that what we were?
Yeah,
talking about
I think it
before?
was in the chart,
Right, and yes,
you know,
That we would have
because it
liked.
doesn't say anything about this, it doesn't say where it's allowed, but, so, yeah, you're probably right.
Yeah, we added it
Because it doesn't say anything, it's talking about the facade more than anything else.
Right.
But nothing else talks about where it's allowed.
Let me find where we wrote that already once.
I mean, we can add it because it would make it,
Where it says the addition of a separate exterior door on the front facade is prohibited, don't we have some that already have that right now?
I'm sure,
Like the one right by the old middle school there?
the old elementary
The old
school across the street
Yeah,
on, what is that, Spencer?
Spencer, yeah, Spencer, that's it.
Yeah. Actually, who used to own that? One of the superintendents. Burns. I think Burns used to own that. Rented it out.
We're gonna insert it in the district part. We're talking about the districts is where we have made a note.
Okay, so that's further on. Okay, all right, okay.
Alright. So do we care about the door, the extra door on the front facade? And of course, since we already have it, so if someone modifies one of those that we called a duplex, and they're gonna be forced to...
I grew up in Detroit, duplexes were kind of all over the place, and they had two doors,
Yeah.
you know. So if you have one door, you'd have to have a foyer, and then two doors off the foyer.
Right.
You know, so it would just make it, you know, but then it would match the character, so, it doesn't, I don't have an opinion. Christie?
I can see us getting rid of it.
Yeah, I think it's fine, they have two doors.
Okay, so how are we gonna do this, two families? Yeah, we'll just kind of get that, delete that addition of separate exterior door in front is prohibited. Primary and second dwelling may be like,
Located.
just get rid of
Let's say-
the last two sentences.
Yep.
Correct?
Correct.
Okay, all right. Okay. So, did you have a typo on page 613? You did, didn't you?
Yes, you did, acre.
Right under 6.3.
Oh, having acres, yeah. Yeah, they watch TV.
Yeah, I did too.
I did too.
So since we have one, is there a lot width 150 feet?
Huh?
So it's at a minimum, so the funeral homes, mortuary and crematorium, and a minimum lot width of 150 feet. Half acre, 150 feet.
So I kind of,
So 70 deep and 150 long, wide. 70, yeah, ish, to get to half. Now I'm just curious how our 1 and 10.
well, you know, and their math and some of this stuff, like, kind of played with the calculator a little bit, didn't add up. So you're right, the 150 feet and the half acre, so it's 208 roughly by 208. So, yeah, you're right. So, and it's 43,560 square feet is an acre. So what's,
How many is it, 43?
yeah, 43,560, and so 208
1,000 divided by
feet and 8.5 inches square. So, but if you had a lot that was 150 by 100, that's still only 15,000. So you're under, so 21. So I think if your lot was 120 feet by 150 feet, what's that?
Getting closer.
So that's
it's like
30,
It's like
right?
145 by 150 or something.
Yeah.
It's a big parcel though for that.
Yeah, but our funeral home, I'm sure, is that.
Well, that was my question too, is this Alice did Tiffany Young?
Because you gotta have a driveway on both sides, you gotta circle, you gotta have an entrance and exit.
They got the
Well,
off-street.
I don't see that as a real problem, and I think that the 150 still works. What's your calculator? It's 150 by 120. That's 15, so it's 18,000, that's still under half an acre.
18,000, yeah. Yeah, I think it's 150 by 145, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, so,
Which in the ballpark, that's a big lot on that side.
because you figured 20 foot for driveway, 20 foot for a driveway, some setbacks from the driveway to the building or parking, I would think that you would need at least 150 feet. So Tiffany has parking on both sides of the building, so you figure 20 for a driveway, 20, or 15 for a driveway, 15 for a driveway, 20 for parking, so that's 35, 35, 70, and 150, that only gives you 80 for a building, plus a little bit of landscaping between the building and the parking, which is not a whole lot. And you're supposed to have screening, so then you put your screening on the outside of the driveways. Okay. So we're good on that?
Yep.
Okay. So then on 614, we really need to say anything about video rental establishments?
We used to, right?
Yeah, we used to.
Well, because we considered deleting it on the charts.
What
Yeah.
do you do about red boxes that are inside businesses?
Yeah, but that's side business. The red box is not standalone.
This is an actual inability.
Right, video stores.
Yeah. So delete X.
Yep.
Good, okay, moving right along. How about, chapter 5, community uses,
Well, hang on a second, wait, hit back. So this, I keep saying, I know like the foster care group homes, things like that, there's the distance, that has to do with state, I think, correct?
some of it, yes. Yeah.
What about the tattoo part, 1,000 feet?
Yeah.
Hey, I'm all for 1,000 parks. Yeah, they can be by the other end of town, they don't need to be by my house.
Well, I think we did it the one time, because we did something with the liquor license, be within three.
No, there was a tattoo guy that,
No, again, but I mean, even 300 feet was the entire, between Cozy and the Fosters doesn't qualify to be far enough apart.
Yeah.
So 1,000 feet when, okay, you're now in Richmond.
Mhm.
I'm just making it, so
Yeah.
it sounds extreme.
well, somebody wanted to have a tattoo parlor in Cordy's Plaza when it was Cordy's.
Well, I'm kind of wondering, why do they have to be 1,000 feet from adult uses or sexually oriented businesses?
Because you don't want to have them clustered.
Those, I would say they go together typically, right? You
Right.
Yeah.
you need alcohol, tattoos, and
Right.
Yeah.
adult entertainment.
So that's
And that's
why.
why? Okay.
That's why.
Okay.
They don't want you to go get drunk,
And
go
get
have sex, and then have that
Okay.
tattoo. Sorry, we didn't say that.
Okay.
I love
Now
Susie
I
now.
So yeah, so that means if we get one, getting a second one would be almost impossible.
Right.
Okay, so now moving right along to churches, temples, and other places of worship.
Good transition.
Yeah.
Part of that cluster. There's always the next
1,000
morning
feet away.
when you wake up.
Well, that's with heading.
Sterling Heights is going through that one in Part A right now. And they're gonna lose that one. The height.
Yeah, well, and that's just, that's what I had, that's what I had. So I've got, why is this, check out this, and setbacks.
Yep.
So how about we have planner look at that one too?
It just comes to say, I bring it up as out of that you have an order, and then they went to court and they're gonna lose for it. That's like the number, because it's taller, they're gonna build a mosque taller than the ordinance allows, and the courts are gonna allow it. It's like, then why, the number is meaningless then at that point, it's like, it's too bad. Ours says 45 feet.
Well, churches are allowed in R1, in
I was gonna say, what did
in
you
R2,
say?
R1, so, and I think, what's the maximum house, 30 foot? I don't know.
It's in that standard section. Tattoo, video rental establishment. By the way, going back to section, we're deleting those sections, we're going back to section 4 and removing them.
That we already
Yeah,
did.
we already
Okay,
did
you
that.
did that one?
Yeah. Yeah.
Where's that?
So speaking of deleting, so section 6.402 driving ranges, we deleted that too.
Okay. We're not gonna have a driving range in town?
Yeah, we've got no room for a driving range.
Public utility and essentials.
Anything on 616? How about 617?
Oh, we did have something there. Are we set with the difference between minor repair, major repair? Our definitions
Yes,
are all
yes,
squared away.
yeah,
Remember
well,
that come up with Larry in that?
Yeah, so minor repair is brakes, mufflers, tune-ups. Major repair is engine rebuilding and transmission rebuilding. So it's the heavier stuff. Okay,
That's what gets figured.
so I have something in B. So it says no more than one access drive curb opening shall be permitted per street. Well, I'm sorry, but entrance, so an entrance and an exit sometimes are very nice. So especially if you're doing a fuel or gas station.
Well, like Foster's do, they have 2 on each
Well,
street.
No, they have 2 on one.
2 on one and 1 on the other one.
There's only 1 on Church. There's 2 on Main Street.
And you had that.
So the other one you're
You can't
thinking
turn-
of is Park.
Because you can't turn left,
I guess maybe because they bought
Is that
that, they bought that, so yeah, you're
The
right, I
parking
take
lot?
that back, you're right.
the back of the parking lot there.
Yeah, or it was
It wasn't before, but you're right.
Frank and Joe's Pizza.
Yeah,
Yeah,
at one time.
the blue building.
The little
It was a
blue
bike
building?
shop.
Yeah, and one of my buddy's friends was showing off his car in reverse, but he hit drive and went into the building. Okay,
So we want to take off that part? About
I think
they
so.
can't have, it's a necessity at a business. like
I think
Foster's.
so too, I mean, you kind of,
Mhm.
like, I can see it with some things, like but where you only have one, but then it's a big one, but in a fueling, in a gas station, I don't think that's feasible at all.
Right, I agree.
Okay, so the next one is F. So the thing that I have in question is, everything has to be done inside the building. I don't know any repair facility that I've ever been to that everything is done inside the building. So you could ask for it, but it's
In the
pretty
E where
rare.
it says that?
F.
In F.
F.
Yeah, well, it's, I mean, our demonstration, we have it being demonstrated right now already, so.
So I think it's not a bad thing, but then if it's in there, are you gonna enforce it?
I was gonna say, even if it wasn't, it's got 30 days, so really who's keeping track of it, and how you're keeping track of it, so. I get it in principle, the idea is so that we weren't establishing a junkyard, basically.
Right.
Well, and then you don't
And in
have,
some cases, we already
Yeah.
have it twice.
but, I mean, most good operators don't do that in the front of their building, they'll do it behind the building.
Hmm.
And I think that's been, at least on the south side, when it's been observed for the moment, that way I can tell.
Or they've got a lot of stuff outside.
Yeah, oh, exactly, but behind the fence, the stuff in front turns over though.
It's kind of good.
Yeah, I mean, it looks to me, I've seen repeats of the same vehicles there at different times.
Yeah, but they'll be there for
It
days.
seems, okay, but I'm saying, but for 30 days.
Oh, yeah, sure, yeah.
I think that's being observed.
Yeah.
The one in here.
Well, you're talking about temporary storage, we're talking about repairing it
Oh, I
outside.
think you said F.
Yeah, he's up in E.
Oh, I'm confused, yeah, E.
I thought you said F.
Yeah, I think I
He
did.
did.
I think I did, yeah. Hey, it's late.
Yeah, because I did, I had that
Yeah,
underlined,
I'm
but then
talking
you went
about
to the
E.
wrong one, so,
Yeah,
okay.
I said F, but I'm talking about E.
Well, they both have an enclosed part to it, so yeah, I get it.
So it's the,
So do
working
repair.
on vehicles outside the building. So if we did that, I would suggest that we make it so that it's not allowed in the front of the building, but it's allowed in the rear of the building. But to make it only in building,
So if you permit it back, you make them have it screened, like the plastic slats in your fence, something like that?
well, screening, we've kind of decided through the years that we didn't like the plastic slats in the fence. But everybody does diagnostics in the front,
Yep.
so you could do diagnostics, just not work in the front. But I think we should allow working in the back.
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay?
As long as it's kept in the back of the building.
Excuse me?
As long as they are in the back of the building.
Yeah. So that's, okay, so we're gonna change that to repair stations shall not be permitted on sites immediately adjacent to residential. What is that? Okay, no, that's not it. All equipment and service space entirely within enclosed building and all repair work should be conducted completely enclosed building or to the rear of a screened yard. How's that?
Sure.
Rear of the building with a screened yard. Okay. So then G,
Yeah.
where it says noise and orders.
On the interior.
So I just have a thing with the last line where it says masonry construction with soundproofing. I think you can do something else other than masonry. If you did a dense planting, I think you can do something.
Well, but at the same point, then there should be no evidence of service or repair operations in the form of dust, odors, or noise beyond the interior. If we're allowing them to work in the backyard, they're gonna have odors, noise and stuff in their
Yeah,
back.
well, that's why I added in that you're allowed to work in the back if you have a building with a screened yard. So, and then, okay, so, and this is residential districts. So, but I think you can, I don't know, what do you
Yeah, I
think?
think you're right. There's other forms of screening that are, or soundproofing that are
Yeah. So
just
just,
as effective.
yeah, I would say to, and I think,
Because in general, what you're saying is there, again, in section 8, there's a noise standard. You're gonna have to put something that allows it to meet that standard effectively. And whatever it is, it is.
yeah.
Or combination of.
So I'm sure there's kind of building materials that could be outside that are sound deadening, that aren't as thick as the masonry wall nor as big, that you could put plantings around and make it look like it doesn't even exist. Okay, then I, under traffic and impacts and pollution prevention, a traffic impact study shall be provided. I don't know that we need to do that all the time, so how about we insert may instead of shall? Okay. For people that are kind of watching this on the TV, if you've kind of noticed, what we're doing is redoing our ordinance, but we're also making it a little bit easier to navigate in the fact that we're being less restrictive. So hopefully you caught that vein that we're trying to follow. Okay, are we good with that one?
If it may be required by as a boost or
Yeah,
a discretion.
So if it's a big complex, it should be required. If it's something small like a, small gas station repair or small, engine repair or something, something that's not gonna be, big.
Traffic impact study. Is that the police?
What?
Is that the chief that provides that? Who does the traffic impact study?
Yeah,
What's up with the chief?
yeah, so you could do police, but you have to, you really, a traffic impact study would be more than just the police would do that. So the police would approve your traffic impact study, but your traffic impact study is actually done more by an engineering firm or something. So if you actually want a traffic impact study. So first you have to come up with the amount of traffic that you have, the daytime hours. When I built the car wash, I kind of did one. So I called the county and said, okay, what's the traffic by the car wash per day, with weekend day, when's the peak time? And I presented all that to the planning commission.
We actually have the equipment to do that.
Exactly, yeah. So that's why you contacted the county, so you wouldn't put
No,
that
we don't.
burden on the police department.
We own it.
Huh?
We own it. I mean, that might even be something that could be lucrative for the police, anybody that needs one.
What's that?
One of those things that you park, tells you how many cars go by and how fast you're
Little
going.
stroke.
Oh, yeah, but when you see those black hoses across the road, and there's just a little
Yeah,
box
it's
right
a
there,
ticker.
that's a counter.
Yeah, it's a
Counter.
counter.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay, so, moving over to 618, if we could. So car washes. I know a little bit about this one. A self-serve car wash needs to have a minimum of 10,000 square feet. It's too small. You could operate maybe a 3-bay car wash on 10,000 square feet, but who would build a 3-bay car wash in today's world? It's just not feasible. So that it should be at least 13,000 square feet. The thing about 150 foot of frontage, you really don't need that. You need 120, and you need
car wash.
Oh, okay.
So 10,000.
So 100. You need 130 feet of frontage, and it says 100 foot. So if you
Finally.
So it kind of go by bays, and how many bays that you're doing, so you could kind of do a typical thing.
So you'd say it's 130.
But I really don't know if a car wash that's been built, I don't know, the smallest car wash that I've seen, and I check out car washes every time I go anywhere, is a 4-bay.
Yeah, I was trying to
So I have seen a 3-bay, but it was like 4.
I never go there.
Yeah. The two old ones in Romeo are 4 bays. Old one in Chester, in New Haven is 4
New Haven was
bays.
3. On Gratiot?
What?
One on Gratiot there? At the party store or whatever that place, cell phone place on that now?
That's 4.
It was 3.
So one on the curve.
26 in Gratiot, New Haven Road and Gratiot, between New Haven Road and 26.
And 26.
That's 4.
What about Element on the curve on Van Dyke?
Yeah, 5, 6,
Really?
plus a drive-through.
The automatic.
But that was 4, it started out as 4.
I always considered that was a small one.
The automatic.
Even the old one in Emily City, which is one of the oldest ones around, or the one on Bailey Street in Romeo, is a 4 bay, and that was old when I bought my house in
Oh,
Romeo,
the one that's
2
off.
doors down from it in 1974. And that was old car wash then. It was one of the first ones, that was built in the early 60s, I was told.
The one that's set back off of, on the west side of, or I'm sorry, south side of 32?
No.
Or the
The
one that's on-
oldest one is on Bailey Street.
Yeah, on the north side.
It's Bailey Street runs the same way as Van Dyke, it's 1 block east of Van Dyke, and it's on the first block north of 32.
Oh, yes, I know what you're talking about.
So that's one of the oldest car washes around.
Yeah. I think more car washes there than I thought there'd
Yeah, my mother-in-law lived 3 doors down.
be. Okay.
That one.
All right,
They-
but 20,000
I
for
was
one
told one
automatic?
time I had to, in order to come in the house, I had to go to the car wash, and I had to go to that car wash and hose myself off before my wife would let me in the house.
That 38.
I was that dirty. I used to work oil field. Okay, so I think we should revisit that.
Yeah, it's worth it.
So some of the stuff that's in here, so the setbacks, and stacking, they've got things in here that just don't make any sense. So they're saying you're supposed to have so much stacking, but stacking is 20 foot on a car, and they don't have that in here, so. We can either leave it, or we can be a little bit closer to reality.
It's fine.
So, I can go over with you later.
Okay.
Okay. So then, section 5 or 6503. It says drive-in or drive-through lanes, facilities and establishments. As you read it, you kind of figure out what it is, but under that heading, you guys, to me, I got no clue what that means. What do you think?
No, until, like you said, yeah, until I get to menu boards.
Yeah, right. How about cleaning that up a little bit, just to make it so that you don't have to read the A through G to find out what it's talking about,
Okay.
okay? So then in C, we're back to the traffic. It says no more than 1 such drive or curb openings shall be permitted per street. So change that to entrance, exit 2 again. Anything else on 618? How about 619? We only have 29 pages to go. How about 6504 A? So what I thought, so secondary building entrances, exterior room entrance, and exterior room entrance shall not face a residential district. So a residential district happens to be behind a motel or hotel, not saying that we're gonna get one, but if we do, if something happened. What about if you put some type of either a masonry or a screening behind that so that you separate it?
Right.
You know, almost most of the hotels and motels that I've been in have rear entrances so you can go to the parking lot. The parking lot in the rear is usually bigger than the parking lot in the front.
So entrances shall have screening. Entrances facing residential district shall
Yeah.
have facing.
Yeah, yeah.
That's,
Shall not face a residential district or use without masonry or similar screening.
okay.
Or
Except for,
privacy,
so,
how about privacy screening?
Right.
yeah, that's fine. Let's see where. Should not face a residential district or use. And you're permitted in C1 and C2. Let's give a special approval now.
Okay, how about 6505?
We had that one, what, last year or so? With
Yeah, we did cozies. And it'll be in my chair report too.
He's looking at you like, we still have a chair report?
Yeah, we got a chair report too.
We still have public comment, so.
Or it's just me, so.
And you're gonna
I'll
enjoy
do
it.
it.
You make comment all the time, yeah, you
I'm expecting
have
more.
used up your time.
Yeah.
Okay, so how about section 506? The same thing, in A, it says something, no outdoor sales shall be located within 50 foot of any residential district or use. How about without screening?
Okay.
Yeah. Six feet of sidewalk.
So how about C?
How about B even?
What?
A minimum of 6 feet of sidewalk width to the entrance of the establishment shall be maintained free for pedestrian circulation.
Isn't that what our our sidewalk is 5 foot, isn't it? Uptown.
But they just passed a,
Policy restriction.
what's the stupid?
It's
thing
a
they
sidewalk
do?
policy,
No, what are they
The-
doing?
sidewalk sales.
Sidewalk sales. But they have to maintain 6 feet of clearance.
Mhm.
Okay, because when we did it in the signage, so section 13 in signs, we said that, so we looked at the sidewalks, actually went and measured all the sidewalks, and through sidewalk was 5 foot. So the square, if you physically get out and walk that Main Street sidewalks, so there's a panel by the building, there's a panel by the curb, the panel that in between those is 5 foot.
But we said, the policy now says that they, from the edge of the road, edge of the curb,
Back of the curb,
they have to maintain a 6 foot clearance.
so that means the
From
sidewalk's
the
more
edge
than
of the
6
curb,
foot.
from the edge of the curb, 6 foot?
Yeah,
Towards the building,
they have to maintain it
6
clear
foot clearance,
You said from the back of the.
Wow.
back of the curb.
to allow people.
So you're at the edge of the street, go back the curb
Yeah,
toward the building, 6 foot has to be clear for walkway.
okay,
And then if you've got 10 feet, 2 feet, whatever.
That's all you
put your-
get.
That's all
Okay.
you get for your sidewalk.
Yeah.
Yeah.
okay. Well, so, okay, that's still different than what this says. It says you need 6 foot of,
To the entrance of the establishment. So
Yeah.
from the opposite side, this is saying from the building out, and your policy says from the street out.
Yeah.
So you,
so it's flipped. It's 6 foot and 6 foot, and most of them are only 12 or 11.
Yeah.
but you would, I would think you would change the purpose of what they did is the businesses that were putting their wares on the sidewalk.
Mhm.
So,
And blocking the walkways completely.
not to force the people to have to go through their stuff or even between their stuff and their building. That's why they did it from the
Yeah.
road.
Mhm.
So
Well,
you
and a
can
lot
almost-
of vehicles overhang anywhere from 18 inches to 2 foot over the curb.
And that's why they said 6 instead of 5.
Yeah.
So you don't.
Well, we did the center. So that was, anyway, okay. So, what are we doing to that?
You almost have to make it mirror their policy. But they have to maintain the 6 foot from the road edge, or curb edge.
Yeah, 'cause you want, yeah.
So that it's the
This is
same.
pushing their stuff to the street,
Yeah.
leaving the door open, we wanna flip it around.
Right.
Okay, so we're gonna
And it
do
stays up against
minimum
the building.
of 6 feet of sidewalk, from curb,
From the curb.
from the curb.
Right.
So sidewalk width, from, instead of 2 entrances of the establishment, I'll have.
So you were saying back of curb, that's the curb and gutter interface, or is it from the curb to the walk itself?
It's the outside.
The outside of the radius,
curb.
as it goes down to the gutter?
Curves,
Okay.
you're at the storm drain.
Alright, so you get the benefit
Or-
of the width of that curb, isn't that number?
Yes or no?
Yeah.
Yes.
So it's from the back of the curb?
Back of the curb is exactly where the language says.
Okay.
Back of the curb toward
Okay.
the building.
Six, so you got that?
Well, or do you just make it, is this one of those that just says, you know, is this part of the code, what is this? Is this part of the code of
No,
ordinances?
it's just a policy.
Or just a policy?
It's not a-
Alright,
so-
I'll say it's in the code of ordinance, then it
Then you
just,
can reference the
right, just
code, no.
reference it.
So you have to just mirror the language from the
Yeah.
policy.
Okay. So how about C? So we're okay with the, basically from the back of the curb towards the building, 6 foot must be kept clear? So, okay, so it says something about music and amplified sound prohibited. I'd kind of like to rethink that. I think music is kind of nice. Barb and I were someplace one time coming home and we stopped in a little town and their town was playing music and it was pretty nice. I know we tried to do it here, but something shot it down.
Mike's Party Store did. The one he had on the corner there, by
Oh, yeah.
Sunday. He had music playing.
So, and I kind of, so I think that it shouldn't be loud, but if somebody does it at their property line, it shouldn't be higher than normal voice tones. How's that?
I thought it was nice having music. You
Sure,
walk
I
by and hear
agree.
a song in
You
your-
know,
Yeah,
if you got everybody to do it,
But that doesn't apply to this one, though.
why not?
Well, this is simply outdoor sales or display areas for sales. Someone playing music
Oh.
outside a party store isn't the same, is not this section.
But it is, because you can have outdoor sales. So you're during
It
that
wasn't
outdoor
having
sales.
outdoor sales, you're saying you just have music.
I understand, but so that's totally separate than this.
That's what I'm saying.
But I'm saying that, I'm not talking about that, but that was an example. But I'm saying if you do have an outdoor sales, that you should, it's saying that you can do this,
Yeah.
not saying that maybe we should allow
And the
it.
noise is covered by the performance standard. You don't want two adjacent ones competing with each other.
Right.
turning
So
it
that's why you have
louder
it,
and
so
louder.
that it's, at your property line, it's not normal voice tones. So you have it low and, you know.
Okay.
But if you had a sidewalk sale over the whole town, then everybody could do it.
Only
Just-
do music during holidays.
Huh?
We do music on top of the buildings for
Sure,
holidays.
yeah. Okay, well, I don't know, so we could do some here or not.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah. Okay, so then, E is surface. So it says all areas for display of automobiles, trucks, recreational vehicles, boats, and similar items shall be paved. So how about gravel? Gravel or paved?
Hard surface.
Huh?
Is gravel considered hard surface?
No.
No.
It's a hard surface, but, okay, so in our definition, hard surface meant that it was concrete or,
Solid surface.
yeah,
Sorry. Yeah, gravel's a
so,
solid
so, but this doesn't say hard surface, it says paved. So I wanted to delete paved. Okay, we can do that, yes, no?
Yeah.
Good, sure, Chris? Okay. Okay, so, 620.
Package liquor store that deleted already.
Excuse me?
It's already been deleted. Package liquor stores. We already
Oh.
deleted that.
We deleted packaged liquor stores?
We deleted that with Mike's application.
Oh, okay, it's gone,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah, with all the state, whatever, holy cow, yeah. You mean Mike is the big here.
No, it's in the corner guy where Katie.
Oh, the
Farm
store?
Stores.
Yeah, okay. Okay.
So-
This for a big here. Pawn shops.
Okay, what about recording studios?
Well, that kind of just defeats the purpose of what we said about the music, though, right?
Well, and I'm kind of, let them play a little bit of music outside. And then I think that they should, with computers today, so a lot of things are digital. I think they still do a few CDs, but I think most stuff's digital, so why couldn't they do digital recordings and keep the digital recordings for sale?
Right.
Even if you're doing CDs in a limited fashion. So you're gonna have I know that still going to establishments where there's somebody playing music or singing or something, they still have CDs, and those aren't mass produced, so those would be done by the recording studio. So if you're gonna do 100 or a couple hundred, I think the recording studio should be allowed to do that, and I think they should be allowed to keep them.
Right.
I mean, if you have 1,000 CDs, what's that? That's not a whole lot. It's not a big area. Okay, so can we do that one?
Yep.
What do you think, Chris?
I don't know, I'm trying to think why it was there in the first place.
Well, again, this
They're
is an
trying
old
to
ordinance,
stop.
and when you were doing records and doing vinyl, I think that's a whole different ballgame. You're pressing vinyl, has smell to it, and when it's heated.
Dupes or storage, I mean, they would have done tape to tape,
Yeah,
or reel to reel. But tape
reel to reel, but vinyl, vinyl was still in when
But why
they did
not?
reel to reel.
Why would they want
And
it?
reel to reel never really caught on like vinyl.
I got the noise, but I'm just quite as curious why in the heck it would have been there.
So, okay, so how about we do this? We'll kind of allow this with a request from the planner to see his thing. Okay? Okay. Okay. So anything else on 620?
Shouldn't 6510 read, but shall not be limited?
Oh, yeah, yeah, thanks. Yep.
What's that, which one there?
A in
Yeah.
6.510?
Uses seven to-
Blondie.
Include, but shall not limited to?
Yeah.
And then,
Yeah, it's that not limited should be not, should not be limited.
and then
Just a
also
typo.
Yep.
in B, it says conflicts between traffic generated by the site and traffic on adjacent streets and streets.
Must have been.
Yeah, it should be an S on, in front of the period. Wow. Okay, we're on a roll. How about F on 621? So it said pedestrians walkway 6 foot wide with concrete sidewalk shall be provided from the public sidewalk to the main entrance in a manner that effectively separates pedestrians from vehicular traffic. Driveway crossings shall be clearly delineated with pavement striping. Where in the hell does that exist? Excuse me.
6 foot.
So you're gonna tell me that any strip mall or mall that you've gone to has a sidewalk from the sidewalk through their parking area to the individual stores? Or where's the sidewalk from the parking area to your,
To the doors,
yeah, to the store?
right? So we just take that one out.
Yep, that's what I wanna do. That's what I think we should do because I don't know where that ever existed.
Yeah, I don't know how it's
Yeah. I mean, not that I'm a world traveler, but
parking set right here and then have to have a sidewalk.
yeah, I mean,
Yeah, because that front of it, after your sidewalk would be your collector drive part of your parking anyway.
so then everybody's gonna leave the parking area to go to the sidewalk.
Right.
And who's gonna do that? Nobody's gonna do that. Everybody walks through the parking lot. So we'll just delete F. How's that?
Funeral home has a separate sidewalk that goes from the parking lot to the building.
Who does? Who does?
The funeral home.
Who does?
The funeral home.
Retail stores and commercial uses with 40,000
Come in, you go in the
square
parking
feet.
lot, then there's separate sidewalks that bring you to the front of the building. That's the only one I can think of.
Yeah,
The only, and
Probably the
the only
church.
thing that they've got that main, they've got a main site, so it says connecting the sidewalk to the building. Not connecting the parking lot to the building, but connecting the
yeah, from the
sidewalk to the
public
building.
sidewalk to the
Yeah.
main entrance.
So that's an entrance from the sidewalk to the entrance door.
Yeah,
So that's what this is talking about.
and the
So-
reason, so you're going from the sidewalk to that, to separate pedestrians from vehicular traffic. Well, if
Yeah.
I'm on the public sidewalk inside to that and I need another walkway, where am I'm going the other way of traffic or via vehicles. So, yeah, that one's kind of weird.
Yeah. So you're right, the funeral home is one of the few that has that, but that doesn't, so. So anyway, okay, so how about, 6.5? What did we do with theaters? Did we,
Oh, 512.
so did we have those? I think what we said, there could be indoor ones, but not outdoor ones.
Correct.
Is that what we want?
All right.
And then, so, okay, so we're allowing that, so then B, again, is traffic study. It says shall be submitted, and then, may be requested. And that's how, excuse me, and that's how it should be. It should say may be requested. And all the other ones, and the other ones too, may be requested. Okay.
Yeah, that's true. So I know Richmond's got a few of those like that. that church in town, right off of Park, does theirs, huge theater group.
Well, in Richmond, they took the church and changed it into a
Yeah,
playhouse,
theater, right.
and that's in a residential area.
Yeah. And then the Odd, I don't think they do anything, I don't know, they do their stuff.
And I don't think that's that uncommon.
No, that's
It's
what I'm
uncommon,
saying.
but it's
Say
not.
looking in terms of if there's anything here that's,
Right.
we got local right around us to copy stuff from,
Mm-hmm.
so I don't do the same thing.
So then the next one, the last one is tobacco and cigar and cigarette shops. You can't have one of those within 1,000 feet of a hospital. I mean, come on.
You buy back cigarettes, like,
Yeah.
leave the hospital by the time you get 1,000 feet.
When I was a kid, they used to give me a quarter to go buy cigarettes, and it was right in the hospital.
In
Oh.
the hospital.
But again, at 1,000, so you'd be at that end, you'd be on opposite ends of town, so.
I just don't see it.
Yeah.
Go there.
So we're taking.
So I could see the daycare, the school, the
Yeah.
park, but the hospital.
I'll say they would be consistent with, not package, it would be pawn shop, some of those other ones. keep them the
Yeah,
same.
kind of.
The same type of, yeah, I'm fine.
I don't smoke, but I don't like to. But anyway, so industrial research, chapter 6, industrial research and laboratory uses. So it says hazardous material storage.
We deleted that in the,
Did we?
yeah.
Oh, good. So I got a whole bunch of stuff in there, so
Yeah.
good. If we deleted it, wonderful. Good, okay, cool. That saved us a lot of time. So then, how about
So,
intensive
so
operations,
it's
land
not
use approval,
permitted.
including not limited to metal foundry? We deleted that one too, right?
Correct, we considered that heavy industrial.
Right.
so we
Cool.
deleted that.
Okay. Outdoor storage, 6603.
No junk or junk vehicle shall be stored.
So, anybody got anything? So in A, or excuse me, in C, it says, okay, sites shall be visibly screened from all adjoining properties and street right-of-ways by greenbelt or buffer strip.
Oh, it says and.
And a solid decorative masonry wall or fence at least 6 feet high and no more than, or excuse me, 6 feet, at least 6 feet, between 6 and 8 feet, in accordance with section 1104. And then no materials should be stored above the height of the required wall fence. So my thing is, okay, between, and I'm giving the example of myself and the elevator, we're both industrial. Why do we have to have a screening between us, me and them? We share the property and it's.
Which one of you is blocking out the other one?
Correct,
You
yes,
both make
exactly.
the impact.
It's a ludicrous thing
Right.
that means nothing other than money, wasted money.
Right.
So I think between,
Between industrial uses,
yeah, between industrial uses, I mean,
Pointless.
yeah. So, and I go to, and you probably do too, you go to a lot of industrial places, so they're fenced, and sometimes it's masonry fencing, sometimes it's fencing, but it's not privacy, it's mainly for security.
Right.
So I want to change that. What do you think?
Sure.
Cool, got it? Okay. Okay, 6604, anybody got anything? How about D1?
wow, I thought we would've got rid of that one.
Did we?
No, I would've thought you did, I mean, where are you gonna put a,
I don't know.
made a recycling.
Like when you're right, automotive and.
I don't know, okay, maybe we did.
I was waiting to hear Becky say, yep, I got rid of it, but she didn't.
I don't think we
We
did.
did.
Huh?
I don't think.
No, I don't think we did
Okay.
either.
So it's gonna have to be on a 10-acre site
Yeah, we did not.
with 150-foot front yard setback. Wow, you're,
And what district is it allowed in?
yeah, that's what I was gonna ask next.
Special approval on industrial.
Is it a special, okay.
So unless somebody annexed in,
Okay, so we didn't delete it, it's still there. So anyway,
It's special approval and land use only. Okay. In an industrial. That, I mean, it does, for considering where it would be, that would make sense.
sure, okay, well, okay, so what I did
Fine.
in one, it says junk vehicles or scrap materials may not be stacked higher than the height of the screening wall.
Yeah.
Good, but, or how about out of sight? So, I mean, if you're on the road and the screening wall is 6 or 8 feet high, or what's the height? I don't, so the masonry height will be 8 foot. So if you're tall like me and you're 6'4" and there's an 8-foot fence, but it's 100 feet past the fence, that sight line is 20 feet. So, I don't know. So you just can't see it from outside, so it depends on how deep it is. And then there's in 2, so if you just say it's out of sight, or you can say, because most scrap yards have stuff higher than 8 feet. I mean, if you stack stuff, they're higher than 8 feet. So, but as long as it's out of sight, I don't think that we should have a problem. So and then in 2, it says that you've got to have 20 foot between rows. We work in some really nice, organized scrap yards. Nobody's going to give you a 20-foot bay. Nobody's going to give you 20 foot between. They're going to give you enough room to get a car in and out, and that's about it. So I said 12 foot. I mean, it could go down to 10 foot to be realistic. But I don't care. I mean, so a minimum of 12 and minimum. I put 12. Yeah.
Okay.
So if they kind of wanted to contest that and they had a good reason, I don't see why we couldn't reduce that. And I think that at that point we might ask the fire chief to kind of give us some input. But at 12 foot, you could easily get a fire truck through the roads. So that's kind of how I come up with that one.
okay,
Okay, so,
what about turns?
oop. Yeah, but the row is not a turn. Row is a row.
So what do you do when you get to the end? And the fire truck can't make that turn now?
Well, they're not gonna make the turn, yeah. Between rows is, so this does not address what you're saying. So what,
Right, it doesn't.
it does not, so we're not addressing that. So we're just talking about between rows. So a row is this, just like the grocery store. The grocery store has rows, but the aisles that service the rows are like collector streets. This is a residential street. So we dictated the residential street, not the collector street. So the collector street of the scrapyard is much bigger because they usually have a row here and a row here, and that collector street serves both of them, and that is usually fairly wide. In any one that I've been in. Anyway, okay, so section 6605, recycling collection facilities or composting centers. I think we deleted that. If not, we should. Recycling centers and composting centers smell. And most recycling centers smell too because it's trash and they do have a rodent problem.
We did not do that.
Then we should rethink that, and that's kind of, what do you think?
They're problematic.
Huh?
They're problematic.
Huh?
I mean, they are definitely
Oh,
problematic.
yeah, 'cause I've worked in both the composting places, and they just, well, remember the thing that was on North Avenue by 24 Mile Road. I mean, you went by that place and that was just, phew.
Oh, yeah,
The
that
big
was
sign that was
bad.
out there, thank you, remember the big sign that was out there, thank
Yeah.
you, Macomb County Board of Commissioners?
Yeah. Okay, so where in the heck are we on that one? Is that industrial?
It's on 4-8, that one page.
4-8? Yeah,
Oh, yeah,
okay,
right
so we're
there.
gonna delete that too. Okay, good, Chris?
Now we're taking this one.
Okay,
I say if you wanted to, do like the only one I've seen that actually works out pretty good, like my parents, Sterling Heights, is it's part of the DPW. They attached it,
well,
they attached it to one of their yards
Uh-huh.
where they have the different cardboards and glass and whatever.
but if you have
So
something
you
that's
would do it
commercial,
all.
they're big, that's a big.
I agree, I'm saying, that's, I think if that's what we wanted, that would be fine and let it attach to our facility,
Then that-
which would not have to be part of this.
No.
Yeah, so I'm good with it.
Yeah. Just because I work on one that's part of Oakland County, but it's not Oakland County, but it's municipality, a whole bunch of municipalities in Oakland County, and they recycle glass, cardboard, plastic, and metal. And they do paint, batteries, and all kinds of other stuff. It smells. I mean, it's trashy and it's dirty, and there's stuff blowing, and it's not anything you want to have in your neighborhood. Okay. So storage warehouse, self-storage warehouses.
But what about E?
So I don't know. It says something about a caretaker living there. And then the next one is minimal lot size. Minimal lot size areas is 3 acres. But if you kind of do some math, it really, you could have a smaller self-storage warehouse where you had 2 buildings and 30 foot from one building to the property line, which would give you a traffic lane plus a screening setback area, 30 foot between the 2 buildings, and another building and 30 foot again. So what's that? That's 530, so that's 150 feet. And if you made, so again, an acre is 204, so that's well under the width of it, and making it in a self-storage area that was 150 feet deep, which would allow you a setback for the front and the rear. That's a pretty good sized storage area. So I don't see why you couldn't do that in 1 acre, but then if you're gonna do something like that, maybe make it where if somebody's gonna live there, then you make that only over 3 acres.
Okay. But also we're saying that you're not gonna be able to store boats and campers and things like that either.
Well, and that's outside, right?
This is all storage shall be completely within enclosed structures.
Closed structures, but that would mean the fencing area. Doesn't
So-
necessarily mean in a building.
So a buddy of mine owns a mini storage, so they do have outside stuff, but most of it's inside. And I think Van Pamel's is all inside.
No,
No.
He's got outside?
Mhm.
Okay, but I know he started and it was all inside.
with those rows of inside, yeah, no, he stores campers and,
Cars, whatever you want outside.
So if you're outside, then you gotta have some screening and stuff.
how would you address, what do they call them, they have now, the pods?
But I'd like to get past this before we talk about that.
Okay.
So I'd like to get past A and B.
You're saying we could bring it down to a minimum of 1 acre,
Correct.
but if you're going to have someone live on the premises, it needs
Yeah,
to be
we said
3
that's okay.
acres.
Yeah,
Yes.
okay, we're good?
Yes.
Okay. So, and again, we're within the village, so I don't know if you want to have outside storage.
I did bring it up, that's the more common trend.
Yeah, outside
Adding-
storage.
Is adding to their outside storage, yeah.
Well, I could see it, and I can see that if you're kind of, you know, you're out in a township or something, that's a little more conducive to that, but we're not there, and so do you want to really have outside storage within the village? I'd say no. So we kind of leave that as it goes. Okay, so 6607, we said that's not allowed, so that's crossed off. I like that.
Can't have that oil refinery?
Yeah, okay, so, so what we're not allowing is slaughterhouses, rendering plants, canneries, stockyards, glue factories, soap factories, oil refineries, or similar factories. I don't think anybody in our neighborhood would really want that. Okay, so 6608, warehouses and other storage facilities, distribution plants, freezer lockers, structural distribution facility. I think we allowed that, didn't we?
We did.
We did? So, and I didn't see any problem with any of that.
So permitted, or was it special approval in industrial?
Special approval.
Yeah. Okay. So, here we are. We're getting close. Anything on 626?
Well, we deleted circuses, fairs, carnivals.
Right.
What'd we do?
We deleted 670.
We deleted 6702?
Yeah.
Okay.
Deleted circuses.
Okay. So how about 6701? It seems to be pretty restrictive, so 6701 is adult uses and sexually orientated business, which is very restrictive, and we don't really want to make it any less restrictive.
Right.
So,
Yeah.
okay. How about garages for commercial vehicles, 6703?
Bonnie, you said you got rid of circuses, fairs, carnivals, and similar uses?
Mm-hmm.
And the fairgrounds is not in the village?
Part of it is, part of it isn't.
Part is, part isn't.
Yeah,
So how do we get around that?
yeah.
Well, how did we do that? Did we do that? Did we?
I do remember us doing
Yeah,
that.
we did.
Did we?
Because they're all special approval.
Huh?
They were all special approval.
Yeah.
So we don't make them, there's no process that they follow. They're just there. So we didn't make them do them. Holidays doesn't do anything.
Oh, yeah, that's what we did,
Right.
yeah, yeah.
Armada doesn't do anything, so we
Yep.
said they're there, they're fine. It's not that they're not allowed, we're just not.
We're not
requiring them.
adding
They're,
anything.
they're not coming to planning,
Yeah,
100%.
correct, yeah, yeah. Okay.
But the fair-
Because the fair doesn't come to planning, they just go to council.
The only thing they come to planning for is they're hanging their sign on over the village roads. The only thing they come to planning for.
And that's not planning,
But we
that's
said
council.
that, yeah, we
I'm just trying
said
to think
it.
of what happens if they wanted to redevelop the site or whatever, would they just
Well, that
build a
would be
building then?
different.
That's Dennis,
Yeah.
They'll be able to build it then.
that's a building.
Okay.
Okay, 627, mining and extraction, we deleted. So now we're to the last two pages. So the 628 is mining and extraction, the first part of 629 is mining and extraction. So then we're down to temporary structures and uses, and unless you guys saw a problem,
That's
I
it.
didn't see one.
I didn't.
Nope.
Okay. So 7, you want to keep going? 7 is only
No.
2 pages long.
We didn't
I
say look at
didn't know, and I
seven.
didn't
Huh?
read it.
We didn't
We
say
didn't
to
say to
look
go
at
at
seven.
7.
I didn't?
No.
Oh,
Just 'cause you got energetic.
yeah,
Right.
okay. I'm good. Okay, so what are we gonna do next time? So 7 is only 2 pages, 8 is only 7 pages. 9 is, that's like 12. Yeah, that's what it is, 12. How about we do 7, 8, 9?
Cool. Okay.
Okay. Good. Okay, I think we're doing pretty good. So this is, here's the book, so we're third of the way through, kinda, maybe half. We're probably half if you don't consider the definition. Okay. So ordinance review, public comment.
She's already had.
Yeah, you said it.
I mean, hold on.
Yeah. So you guys on TV, I'm sure this is very interesting, so maybe you could come and watch from here and have comments. Other than that, moving on to chair report. So it kind of passed around the McKenna thing about our, what we're talking about here, this zoning ordinance changes. So what do you guys think about the proposed amount? I kind of thought it was fair. I was kind of old for less, but I thought,
Yeah,
So,
always more than you want to pay.
I talked to Tracy from Licks. They want to do an outdoor seating area behind the building.
Oh,
Yeah, and they want to combine it. And I told her, I said, you know, if you just want to do the ice cream thing, I think that'd be fairly easy, but combining it with chaps is a different thing. So I told her to get some preliminary plans with some dimensions and stuff like that and what she wanted to do. And then we'll kind of talk about the next step. So we haven't got that far yet. So then somebody called me about an accessory residence, but they wanted to do kind of like I think he wants a grandmother's thing, but he wanted to do it in the garage, and our ordinance says that it's not allowed, period. And I told him that, but I told him to get me some information as to what he wants to do, kind of as, I told him to pull out, he's only owned the property for a year and a half. I said, well, you got site survey, get the site survey, and show that to us so we can figure out just exactly what you've got and what you're talking about. And then I thought, I talked to the planner and find out what's going on. But if you kind of noticed in here, there is some new stuff on accessory residences. So I'd see what he's got to say about that one. And another one was years ago when Orchard Construction put their addition on behind the office, so they got a storage building back there. They want to put, it was approved so that they'd have 2 storage buildings and a wall on the north side of the property to connect those 2 buildings with outside storage. So they've got all the outside storage. They just want to continue the wall along the north side and bring it to the south on the east side, and kind of wall off all that storage from the surrounding areas. So I thought that was a good thing and actually made it less intrusive to the neighborhood. I talked to Dennis and I said, hey Dennis, what do you think about just doing this under executive thing? And he said, well, what do you think? And I said, well, planning's already reviewed it and I think it's better than what it is today, and you could go ahead and do that. And as far as, what do you guys think? I didn't really think they needed to come to planning for that.
Making things better anyway, so.
Yeah, and we kind of already did look at it, and it's not really a building.
Right.
So, that's my chair report. Okay.
Do we allow residential on a slab?
Huh?
Do we allow residential dwellings on a slab? A garage would be on a slab. May or may not, it's old, so may or may not have a rat wall.
Oh,
Something for Dennis to review.
something to look at.
Well, again,
And the right.
it's a preliminary, I'm talking about a request, and at this point in time, there's no information to answer any of those questions. So go from the site survey. I mean, I don't even know where the house is, so.
It's in the township.
Yeah, it's in the village.
All right,
So, okay,
motion to adjourn at 9:40.
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Yippee!